Welcome back to the Pitch Side podcast channel. I'm your host, the HD, the BSP. Like, share, comment on this video and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Enable notifications to receive all the updates from these match recaps and all the content on the channel, of course, including the podcast which you can listen to on Spotify, Google Podcast or any other platform. Follow us on social media site BSP on Twitter, PitchSidePod on Instagram, and always join us for more as we try and reach the first K here on the channel. And we come to you after the game between Real Madrid and Liverpool, the first leg of the quarterfinal of the Champions League at Madrid, and straight off the bat, the 3-1 result is pretty flattering, and I think in particular flattering for Liverpool because there should have been more, and it could have been more in the first half in particular. I would say there should have been more for Liverpool. We mentioned in the podcast that the coach is going to be managing the game better, he's going to be winning, and Zinedine Zidane, credit to him, he managed the game really well, and Liverpool looked pretty lifeless. It was certainly a lifeless performance from Liverpool, and since the starting lineup was announced, I think the eyebrows were raised really. Why was Naby Keita there? I mean, when Thiago has been the more featured guy, despite the fact that he's not exactly having the best of performances, the centre halves were always going to be a problem, and the fact is, they were a problem. Real Madrid started not exactly as fast as they can off the bat. They controlled the game for the first 10 to 15 minutes, really. Tried to, sort of pull Liverpool around, who were sitting deep in the back, in quite, a drastic contrast to what they usually do, which is press high and try to go high up the pitch. And considering that Real Madrid were missing Ramos and Varane on the day of the game, of course Varane was announced to be testing positive for COVID, you think that Liverpool are going to be taking advantage of Real Madrid's defence and try to get behind that defence, try to, put a lot of pace and a lot of good balls behind that defence, but it didn't happen. Real Madrid managed to control the game and Liverpool looked pretty lifeless, and these signs were there on the wall for everybody to see that Real Madrid are going to be the winners in this game. And it didn't take past 27 minutes for Vinicius Jr. to pop in with the first goal. It was a superb movement. All started from Toni Kroos. Brilliant game by the way for him. I think it's a toss-up between him and Vinicius Jr. for the man of the match. Probably Vinicius would get it because he scored twice, but I think Toni Kroos has an incredible game. He did what he did best, in the best way possible. He controlled the pace, he made the transition from one side to another, he really pulled the strings in that midfield superbly. I mean, he's always a class act. Certainly, he's not as athletically impressive as he was before, not exactly, running as he used to do, but definitely, he's a guy that always class and always willing to put the right ball to you, and he did that to Vinicius Jr. in the first goal. 1-0 inside 27 minutes, and I think Liverpool were really out of the game for a while. It looked like Real Madrid could have scored a couple more goals before the second half was even scored. Defensive mistakes aplenty from Ozan Kabak and Nathaniel Phillips, and I think Ozan Kabak, more than anything, the game got too big, I think, for him. He wasn't exactly sure about his decision making. He was shaky in his performances. Trent Alexander-Arnold, was completely outdone, I think, by both Ferland Mendy and Vinicius Jr. Marco Asensio was moving centrally, of course, more to support Karim Benzema, and it was a pretty dynamic movement, I think, from Real Madrid. Something we could not say about this side at all this season, but certainly it was a more dynamic Real Madrid side, and it definitely found the spaces when they needed to in the first half pretty easily. And the second goal was, I think, a normal result for Liverpool's lifeless performance. Across from Toni Kroos once again. The bad pass from Alexander-Arnold, a really rash decision from him. Not exactly focused. It comes again in front of Asensio, who doesn't miss, scoops it past Alisson and finishes for a 2-0. And the game is messed up for Jurgen Klopp when he had to make a substitution in the first half. Naby Keita, I think, looked fine in terms of health, but definitely it wasn't exactly the best of decisions to start with Naby Keita onto the pitch, who didn't add anything whatsoever into the game. I mean, his contributions were not exactly significant. Thiago Alcantara had to be sent in the 42nd minute, and, Liverpool at 2-0 down at half-time, you think the game was out of their reach, and, eventually it was, but the start of the second half didn't seem to indicate so. The goal from Mo Salah in the 51st minute, quick start from Liverpool, 5-6 minutes in, they really started strong in that second half, but they faded away after 10 minutes. They had a couple of chances for Diogo Jota later on, but they didn't capitalise on them overall. They didn't have the best of nights, only one shot on target, which was a goal, so that's quite telling really of how Liverpool were playing. And overall, I think, pity on their second half performance, and then I think the start, again, the result should have been flattering. Probably, they may have had another goal if they went about the game as normally they would do. I mean, if they were if they played a little bit more risky, they would probably, take another goal and make the result even more flattering and give themselves a little bit more chance of coming back in the second leg. But now it's 3-1. Real Madrid controlled the game, they managed the game really well, and the last 10 minutes to 15 minutes were pretty much defending and frustrating Liverpool, who just passed the ball sideways and back and didn't exactly threaten Real Madrid's defence, who, for all the absentees, for all the talk of how they're going to be affected by the situation today, it was, I think, Liverpool's defence who went missing in the game, and Real Madrid played an absolute beach perfect of a game, and certainly it's going to affect them heading into El Clasico, and El Clasico is going to affect them heading into the next game. It's the second leg of the quarterfinal tie, and certainly you don't want something like that. You don't want Real Madrid to pick momentum in the Champions League. But overall, that's what happened. Real Madrid defeated Liverpool 3-1 and put firmly, I think, one foot into the semi-final of the competition. Liverpool have a slim chance, I think, of getting back of that scoreline. They need the perfect of perfect games, I think, to get back from this 3-1 result in Madrid. That's it from me for this episode. Always your boy, the HOD, the PSP. Like, share, comment on this video, and subscribe to the YouTube channel, enable notifications to receive all the updates from these match recaps and all the content on the channel. Always avoid the HOD of the PSP, and follow me on social media, PSP on Twitter, PSP on Instagram, and until next time, I'll see you soon.